So both of you work for Microsoft, and Alicia, the entire time I've known you, you've worked in the field, based in Europe as a global black belt, which I think means you work with a lot of big customers, helping them with complex Postgres implementations. Is that a good description?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And then Diaa, you're also in the same global black belt team, and
Exactly.
it looks like you've also been focused on open source databases as well in your time at Microsoft. Cool. And you're here today to talk to us about Oracle to Postgres assessments, which is a super popular topic. So with that, I think I will step backstage and let the two of you take it away.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for attending our talk today. We're excited and happy to be part of Citus Con. As we mentioned, I'm working for Microsoft. I'm based in Luxembourg, focusing on open source databases, and I help customers across EMEA to adopt open source, migrate from proprietary databases to specifically Oracle to open source and Postgres.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Alicja Kucharczyk. I'm based in Warsaw, Poland, and I used to work together with Diaa at the same team, but recently moved to the product group. So I'm currently program manager at the Azure Database for Postgres team.
So as we work with the customers every day, they ask us about how we can migrate to Postgres and what is the challenge that we would go through, and how we can start on the migration projects, and what is the tools that we can use. So we see that every day as our job, and in my previous jobs as well. So one of the challenges is the tools. Once the teams decided to move, or they're having compelling event to migrate, so they start to say, okay, how we can assess existing databases that we have, and most of the time they lean to open source solutions to assess their databases. So we have a lot of work with Ora2PG. Ora2PG is awesome. It has been there for a long time, and a lot of the we see a lot of challenges with the customers when they are using Ora2PG. So we put things together in one package called OSSom. So it is the OSS Open Migrator to help customers assess their databases using Ora2PG, but in easier way. So with the agenda today, we start with the what's Ora2PG that we're talking about. This is the core part of our project, and also the challenge that our customers see with Ora2PG, and how OSSom made it easy for assessments and our customers to use it. And also we talk about the architecture, small demo, and we'll tell you about the roadmap, asking you about feedback as well. What you wanted to see and how you can contribute to it, and when it will be open sourced, and then closing, and hopefully that we have some questions from you, and then we'll be available on the Discord channel to get your questions.
Okay, so let me tell you a few words about Ora2PG. So that's the tool I'm using to migrate our customers. So for the past 2 years, I migrated like a lot of them using exactly this tool. And I love it. I absolutely love it. The tool is developed for over 20 years now. It's got a lot of features. It can generate the assessment report, so you can assess how much time your migration will take. It also has scripts that you can use to automatically export your Oracle schema to Postgres in one shot. So there is one script for that. And then you've got another script that allows you to migrate the migrated schema directly to Postgres. It does both. So it's migrating the schema, so the DDL from your Oracle database, and also if you do not have need for the online migration, you can use it for data migration. For the very simple Oracle schemas, what we see is 100% of automation, which means you don't need to do any manual work in order to have your database migrated from Oracle to Postgres. For a bit more complex schemas, you need to do some coding yourself, like in order to work on Postgres. Yeah, it's not only me, but thousands of people around the world like using the tool successfully, and there's been a lot of databases migrated using this wonderful tool. But let's go to the next slide. What's wrong with ORA2PG? Myself, when I had my first migration, I needed some time to get familiar with the tool. It's not like you are just launching it and you know each feature that this tool has, and you are able to do each stuff that your customers want you to do. Like, it took me a couple months to get familiar, to get fluent with the tool. And I believe it's the same with other people. Our customers do struggle very often, like first with the installation, which is not the easiest one that you might see. It's got a lot of dependency. You need to download many packages, external packages, in order to work, export the paths, and it's really not straightforward process. Other thing that we saw, it's you need to be familiar with command line tools. And it's also not each customer of ours, like, it's super familiar with command line tools. It's also, as I said before, ORA2PG does this ability to generate HTML report with the effort assessment. But this report is super detailed, which from one hand, it's very good, right? Because you've got really detailed report, what needs to be changed, which function, which particular function would require more work. But on the other hand, you really need to have some knowledge about Postgres to interpret that correctly. Probably the report, it's not something you would like to have in your deck to present to the upper management. You need to put some work in order to make it more readable for them. And the estimation, which is our last point, the estimation are done by the static code analysis, which is one way of doing that. Diaa will show you the way that we are doing that in the OSSom.
Yeah, so we saw all of the I wouldn't say issues, but the blockers for our customers and the community to use the ORA2PG, and we made that then based on ORA2PG. So we're building on top of the experience that ORA2PG has, and also we look at the command line tools and everything around it, from installation and so on. So we built that in a guided deployment with containers, and you can start in minutes doing the assessment for the complex databases, and also the OSSom interface that we have. Alicia will show that in this talk, that you can start using it with the very simple steps to connect to the database, get the assessment report, and also deploy it anywhere. So you can deploy it in your desktop, on dev environment or production environment. It will be in all containers, and it is easier also to work with the schemas that you can export. And there is additional things that we would avail for you for the assessment report. So the assessment report is not it's not just the converted schema that you have to work with, but what you can do is to see the outcome of the Postgres converted schema. So in the background, we take the schema and apply that to Postgres and see exactly how many errors and how many successes there, and we give you the actual results. So it's kind of give you the view of what's going on with the migration. And we work with a lot of customers. Some of these customers have 5 databases or thousands of databases. So we know and understand exactly the problems of the multiple deployments. So having that all containerized, so you can deploy it in Kubernetes or any other platform that you would like. So it allows you to connect different environments based on the challenges that you have. So OSSom as a packaging is open source. It is published will be published under the MIT license. It will be shipped with the Docker Compose or Pullman Compose definitions, and also Kubernetes manifest will be available. And the Flask is the web UI that we're using. So it is connecting with the Oracle database, and I'll show you how it is connected now. And the whole environment is containerized, and you can build the containers by yourself if you wanted to do that, or you can use the containers that we have. So this is the OSSom environment. So you have a Flask in the middle. This is the web UI, and you define the connection strings and apply the assessment reports and so on. And the connections will connect to either the Oracle demo that we have or external databases for Oracle. And then it will take the read the information of Oracle, apply that to Postgres, and first, it will go to ORA2PG to do the conversion. It will connect over HTTP. There is, and then it get the converted schema, apply that to Postgres, creating the report for you, and then you can run that a couple of times. You can apply the schema a couple of times and run that again on Postgres, and then you can see the outcome and the results. So with this, I'm going to share my screen to show you a small what you will go through if you want to deploy it. So this is the environment. Hopefully you're seeing my screen. Yeah. So now you can see this is the this is Docker Compose file. It's easy one to go through. And what we will do now is bring the Docker Compose up. I'll prepare the environment for Alicia, so Alicia can do the login. I built that before, so starting the Oracle environment for the demo, the Postgres database that we will be using to apply the convert schema, and also we'll have the ORA2PG, which we'll be using for the actual migration and schema conversion. So Alicia, the environment is up and running. Show us the web interface. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Do you see my browser already?
Yeah, I see the kubepuppy that we have.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the main screen of OSSom. And then we try to simplify our software that much as possible. So basically, you've got one pane, like to add your connection to Oracle. So simply you need to have like some connection name, then the IP of the host that your Oracle is working on, then obviously the port, SID, the username, and the password. You will see like the list of your connections up here. And then what we created, I already added my Oracle connection, so I don't need it to do that anymore. So then you're going to the migration wizard. And what you're doing up here, it's choosing your database connection, then clicking next. You see all the schemas that you've got in your database. So let me choose the simple one that you probably all are familiar with already. So what is happening right now, it's ORA2PG, it's starting the actual migration. So we in the background, we migrating the code from Oracle to Postgres. And then, like, the migrated code is then deployed to the Postgres instance that we also have in OSSom. And then, like, the last phase of the whole thing, it's the counting the objects that were successfully migrated and counting the errors. So then we are able, like, to show you the percentage. So how many, for instance, tables were migrated successfully and how many were not. And then you see the list of all the object that you had in the schema. So for instance, in the HR schema, we've got 7 tables. All of them were successfully migrated to Postgres. There's been one view, so it was also successfully migrated. 2 procedures that were also migrated, and the triggers, like 1 trigger that was also migrated. So the success count is 100%, obviously. But this is like super simple HR schema that you probably all know. So it's super simple. Obviously, with more complicated one, you will see also up here like the error count, and the percentage will be calculated accordingly. And you've got like some information about the source system also, and the migration effort that you see up here, it's the migration effort that ORA2PG has calculated. So it's basically for testing because like 100% were migrated successfully. So the thing that remains, like, it's only the testing. So connecting your app and doing the testing. Okay, so back to our roadmap. If you can put it up, thank you. Okay, so as you see, like, our software is now like more in the puppy stage. So in order to make from the puppy like really a mature dog, like German Shepherd kind of dog, we've got like some points also to add to our software. So with super simple schemas, as you saw before, like HR schema, we don't actually need much more. But obviously, most of your Oracle databases are much more complicated. So you need to do some intervention. So you need some manual coding to be done. So for that, we're planning to integrate the migrated code with GitHub or any other Git that you might have. So you are able, like, to do your changes and then also like test the migration, like compare the schema, etc. And then obviously we'll need the schema comparison. So you will be able, like, to see like how many tables were successfully migrated, how many procedures were successfully migrated. You will have that in the one simple screen. And actually, this is the part that we are very close to finish. And also the data validation part. So if for sure, like, we have migrated all the data. And because what I told you before, like, we're doing assessment by a real migration. So we actually already have at this point, like, the whole schema that you can use with Postgres. So we want also to add, like, next to the Oracle connections, also the Postgres connection, so the user can define like the connection string to Postgres database, and then just also by one click just migrate the schema straight away. Then the online data migration, which will be a bit bigger piece. Obviously, performance optimization, because for a couple of years of migrations, we have like a bunch of the scripts that we apply on the output of ORA2PG to make Postgres a bit more efficient. So this is something that also we want to add to OSSom. Obviously, open sourcing OSSom, that is also the huge point. And then multiple schema and databases support. So for now, as you saw, like, you need to you need to add your database connection manually. So we want you to be able like to just upload, like for instance, CSV file with all the connections. So OSSom can do that like in one step. So over to you, Diaa.
So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and also for if there is any questions that we can take, please use this form for the feedback on the tool and what you expect, what you want to see, and also if you're migrating from Oracle to Postgres, we're happy to discuss that with you. It's not necessary that you migrate that to Azure platform, but we're happy that you take Oracle out. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That was lovely. I have a bunch of questions for you. Are you ready to stay on for a couple minutes? And
yes, sure.
Try to field some of these? Okay, let's see. So what was the biggest migration story you did, and how did it go? And what are the non-technical challenges? That feels like a half hour or an hour long discussion, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. So I did so many of them, so it's really hard to say which one was the most complex one. I believe like the biggest one, I might say, like it was the database where I had like 50 packages to migrate, and in each package, like in average, it was like 200 of different functions and procedures. Yes, that was a big thing.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Are there typical differences that people notice once their applications have been migrated from Oracle to Postgres?
Typical differences, yes, yeah. Yes. Obviously, like the Boolean, probably. That's I believe that's the first. That's the first pain point. So there's kind of attitude, because on Oracle you don't have Boolean data types, right? Mm-hmm. So once you migrate to Postgres, and Postgres has got like the native Boolean data type, then it takes like some time to convince the Oracle people that were using like for instance number, character, or whatever for a very long time, that they probably want to switch to the native data type. So this is probably not that, it seems to be a very simple one, but it takes sometimes really a lot of time. The same with JSON. Like what is sometimes funny, like people put like JSON like in the CLOP, and then in the comments they've got it's JSON. Right. So you also need to convince those people, like probably like JSON might be a good idea to use. So yeah.
Well, one thing, Claire, that you mentioned within the question is the non-technical issues. So when you have a migration of 5 databases is different than thousands and hundreds of databases that you might have within the environment. So we work with customers on both sides, and the technical issues sometimes is easier because you have to fix things around the process, training, skills, and also getting out of the licensing. It takes a lot of non-technical discussions. Normally, we don't have these discussions with the customers, but most of the time we guide the customers how they can do it in a structured approach, and we give them how they can successfully migrate and make cost savings. It's not about cost only; it's cost and also flexibility that they would have once they move to open source database, and something like Postgres, especially if it is a managed service, will be easier for them to manage and optimize, and also have flexibility in their environment.
What are typical downtimes during migrations so far? Is there a range?
We always encourage
it depends.
people. Yes, sir, go ahead.
It depends. This is my answer, but Alicia, go ahead.
Yeah, we always trying to convince the customer that's probably the best way is doing the offline migration. So just take the downtime, and because this is like way easier to set up. But if the customer really needs to do the online migration, then we've got a set of tools that we can use. So, and it depends on the tool that you are using, to be honest, and of the overall setup, the database workload, many factors. So it's hard to give you like the concrete number.
Okay. All right. Last question. How do you migrate the queries in your application? Are there any tools that can help?
So there are like multiple tools that you can use, but most of them are paid. So they've got some like license, right? What I'm usually doing, I'm just running the app against my migrated database. Then I'm like gathering all the logs from Postgres database, and what I'm doing, Ora2PG, what I said before, Ora2PG, it's not, it's got a lot of options. But you need some time to get familiar. So there is also this option in Ora2PG that you can give Ora2PG a text file with your queries, and then Ora2PG will convert your queries also. So you've got like, with running the app against your Postgres, you will have like all the queries that you need, like in the log, and then you are taking that and putting like as an input for Ora2PG. And then you've got as an output like migrated queries.
Awesome. Well, I think we're out of time. We're going to cut over to the next speaker. I want to thank the two of you for putting together your talk, for putting together this new capability and all the work you're doing with customers to help them in this transition. So thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.